Spoilers will be ahead for Toy Story 4 right about now. Woody got his pull string taken out, and I want to know why he allowed this to happen to himself. Why did Woody no longer value his voice box while Gabby Gabby, the doll who took it from him, cherished it? Hello, I'm Isaac from Wotso Videos, where we discuss fun topics for fun people. On my channel, I focus on spreading magic by examining Disney films, so if you are new here, consider subscribing. Fun people, I can kind of barely believe that a new Toy Story movie is out. I thought in 2010 when Toy Story 3 came out that was the last one we were gonna get, but now we are graced with a whole new story that pushes Woody's story forward. And I'm glad that we got it. Let me know what your thoughts about Toy Story 4 are in the comments, because there's a lot to go through and I would love to discuss it all. So make sure to begin that discussion down below. While taking a detour on the trek with Forky back to Bonnie, Woody searches for Bo Peep within Second Chance Antiques until the duo come into contact with one Gabby Gabby. With a defective voice box within her, Gabby is intrigued when she witnessed Woody's pull string, believing she could finally have the chance to fix her own broken internals. At first, when Gabby Gabby's idea is brought to the sheriff, Woody flees from Gabby Gabby and her marionette minions, all named Benson, but after Gabby captures Forky, Woody eventually allows the voice box within himself to be given up to Gabby Gabby, which was a moment I was not expecting at all. I initially didn't understand why Woody would allow this to happen so willingly and calmly after fighting against Gabby for so long, but he handled it well all the same. Although this decision to give up his voice box was one that felt like it could have been an instance that destroyed Woody, since he was devastated when he almost lost an arm in Toy Story 2. Instead, he just kept moving forward, which got me thinking. What changed in Woody to bring him to give up the pull string, and what did Gabby Gabby think would be altered within her that would bring her to harmony? These answers will be answered by the end by examining what the voice box that was exchanged represented. I believe that the voice box signifies what Gabby Gabby is after and what Woody inevitably gives up: an intimate connection to children. In the first 3 adventures for Woody, the pull string is first used as a way for children to connect with Woody. From Woody's very first appearance, he defines who he is even before Andy says a word for him, allowing Woody to establish a large presence in Andy's imaginative playtime.
Reach for the sky!
Beyond playtime though, Andy is able to almost have a dialogue with Woody that allows their bond to grow and feel more established. Andy's childhood toy feels alive to Andy even before he comes to life.
You saved the day again, Woody.
You're my favorite deputy.
The voice box within Woody also allows Bonnie to grow affection for Woody as well when she finds him hanging in a tree. When Bonnie returns home for playtime, she pulls his string again to communicate with him.
I'd like to join your posse, boys, but first I'm gonna sing a little song.
And when tea begins, she continues her playtime off of what he says.
Somebody's poisoned a water hole.
Poison?
Bonnie's playtime with Woody provides her with a bond with the cowboy, which is exactly what she needed to show when Andy arrives with Woody in hand. Because of Bonnie's knowledge of Woody's lines, she is able to prove to Andy she cares about his favorite cowboy, which allows Woody to get a new owner. Children have historically communicated with Woody in a closer, often more loving way because they are able to hear and respond to what Woody tells them. Not only is Woody's voice used to bring children closer to Woody, but when Woody uses his voice box and pull string in more unconventional ways, they are used by Woody in the world to preserve his bonds with those he loves. This is seen when Woody uses his eerie graveled voice in the plan to scare Sid to get to Andy's moving car, and when Woody uses the pull string as a lasso to get off the plane that was traveling far away from Andy's home. The pull string acts as a way for children to interact with Woody and for Woody to get back to his kids, but it can also be looked at as the physical representation of the inner voice that drives Woody to intimately connect with children. Let me explain that a little more. While the sheriff is handling large decisions just before and during Bonnie's family RV trip, he's not the only one who is forced to look inside himself. While Woody is becoming unsure of his drive to be Bonnie's toy, or any other child's toy, he and some of the other toys also look to their inner voice, which often have physical representations they are looking to. Bo Peep confides in Giggle McDimples. Buzz begins to trust his button phrases, and Gabby Gabby looks to her book for guidance. Since we have seen that these toys have physical aspects of their lives that act as guiding forces for them, and we know the pull string is often what facilitates a connection between children and Woody, I think for Woody, the physical form that represents him connecting with kids is his voice box. It represents the part of his inner voice that keeps him bound to an owner. Throughout Toy Story 4, though, Woody's certainty of his desire to have a child in his life is degraded. Prior to Woody giving up his pull string, Woody's relationship with Bonnie is strained as he is becoming played with less and is being left in the closet. With these difficulties arising for him, Woody wrestles with what his life should become, as his time with Bonnie is becoming less impactful. Bonnie did love Woody at first, but the novelty has worn on her, especially when she can play with Jessie. Woody struggles to adjust to his life in Bonnie's room, especially when he recounts his time with Andy. The cowboy attempts to find purpose by watching over Bonnie's new friend Forky, but when he reunites with Bo and learns about Bo's life as a lost toy, the difficult decisions on where he must go and what he must become is further strained. Woody is looking at himself and attempting to see if there's more to being a toy than to have an owner, which draws him away from preserving all aspects of who he has been, which I believe includes his voice box and pull string. The very piece of himself that represents his connection with children means less to him when he is witnessing a larger world beyond what he could imagine. At the same time as Woody drifts away from Bonnie, Gabby Gabby is looking to get closer to a young girl named Harmony. She hopes that by having her voice box fixed as her inner voice, the Gabby Gabby book suggests, she will be able to receive love from a child. In Gabby Gabby's mind, just as Andy interacted with Woody and conversed with him through the pull string, Gabby hoped the same types of moments would occur with Harmony when she obtained the voice box. Her perfect child seemed just within her grasp, and finally then, she hoped she would receive peace. As we can see through Woody's story and the idealization of Gabby, the voice box and pull string represents a child's ability to connect with a toy, a piece of themselves they can use to preserve that bond, and it symbolized the toy's desire to be bound to a child. Therefore, on the journey both Woody and Gabby were traversing through, in which Woody was moving away from his owner while Gabby hoped to move towards one, conflict arose as they crossed paths on their adventures of self-discovery. Gabby coveted what Woody had, but what brings Woody to give into Gabby's desires and resort to granting her his voice box and pull string? In part, I think a changing perspective on Woody's connection with Bonnie and children in general made him consider whether he needed that piece of himself anymore, because he was learning that he could receive more fulfillment from a new mission in his life from Bo Peep. Woody was learning throughout his story and through his many previous adventures how many toys were lost and lonely. They were struggling, and Woody wanted to help them. Thus, understanding that Forky needed to be returned to Bonnie, and Gabby Gabby just desired to find love from a child, I think Woody feels motivated to make the deal with Gabby. Woody is willing to give a part of himself that always guided him back to children in hopes of bringing both Forky and Gabby to the moments he had loved with Andy. Woody giving up his voice box and pull string was both a selfless and symbolic act, as he passed on the part of himself that helped him connect with children to another toy, to allow her to live out the life he already had. And it showed us Woody was moving farther away from desiring a life with an owner. Of course, having or not having a voice box was not an indication that either Woody or Gabby would end up with children in their lives though. Gabby learned the hard way that her pull string's functionality would not lead to her happiness with a child. She needed to help a child in need, not one who she fantasized in her head. And for Woody, giving up his voice box didn't immediately make him sure he desired to leave Bonnie and have fewer connections with children. He had to go through this sacrifice to learn his true desires were to be with Bo Peep and assist the lost toys of the world. Wrestling with what the pull string and voice box meant to Woody and Gabby, their conflict over it, and their realizations from exchanging it was just one step on their journey to find happiness. But now it's time to hear your thoughts. What do you think Woody's voice box represents? Let me know what you think in the comments, along with any other ideas you have for future videos. To see more Toy Story videos like this one, you can find a link to those videos in the description. And if you'd like to continue to see more magical discussions like this one, then don't forget to click that subscribe button and the beautiful bell if you're new. It would mean a lot to me if you went and followed me over on Instagram at Wotso Videos. Thank you to my wonderful patrons over on Patreon who are amazing supporters of my videos. And as always, thanks for watching and have a magical day.